Friends of India, we are here to against the observance of the BJP's Samvidhan Hatya Divas yesterday. Yesterday, almost all the states and even in Manipur also, they observed the Black Day, remembering the national emergency in 1975 during the period of Indira Gandhi's, during the Prime Ministers of Indira Gandhi. In fact, during those days, the nations became very alarming, and due to the RSS in 1975, India was in alarming state, and in many places of the nations, like in Bihar, Gujarat, UP, and different part of the country, BJP architect the hatred each other and created violence almost all the states in India during that Indira Gandhi's period during that time, and because of that, this illegal activity of the BJP and the RSS and chaos made during those days, the then government, this Indira Gandhi's time, the legitimate decision was made, and the cabinet decision had been taken, and after that it was put up to the parliament. After that, due procedures of the constitution, which is given in Article 352, that is purely provision of the constitution, it was declared national emergency in those days. But in fact, it is the procedure and these provisions of the in the Constitution of India. There was no illegality, and it was a legitimate procedure of the then government Indira Gandhi's time. And but due to the ongoing Samvidhan Basao of the Congress Party initiated by the All India Congress Party, so far we had been completed more than 600 places, including Manipur. In Manipur, we have completed 18 numbers of Samvidhan Basao in different constituency level and also at the state level. We have done 2 state level program of Samvidhan Basao. And due to fairness of this Samvidhan Basao program of the AICC, I think this BJP double engine government, all the time they feel afraid of our Rahul Gandhi ji and our Mallikarjun Kharge ji, our AICC president. And because of these our demands and the needs of this hour, they are unrest with this campaign and all. But our Congress party demand and detect it as after this 2014 and the 2017 in the state of Manipur, the Modi's government, it is just like or more than the undeclared emergency imposing in across the nations. You see, the machineries of the constitutional machineries totally fail, and the oppositions attack like anything, and communities these adding fuels, hatred each others, and the unrest mind to the people of nations, and particularly in Manipur. You see, we are experiencing since 2017 in the state is the way of administration is we are facing totally fail. The youths are unrest. The different communities are in the turmoil situations, and particularly since 3rd May 2023, we are facing this unprecedented violence in the state, and there is no sign of development. There is no freedom of movement so far. It has been completed 785 days, and it's more than 2 years. We are facing like anything. The fundamental rights of the peoples are no more here in the state, And the you see the different peoples are suffering a lot. The question of inflation, price rise across the state, which is the highest percentage in Manipur, and we can say that around the globe, Manipur is the highest inflation that the last 2 years. And you see the basic fundamental rights are violated. And you see during the emergency, they are comparing the Congress government and the BJP. It is very funny that during those days in 1975, that was the emergency, but now is the popular government. Is before the president ruled in the state, and now in the nation it is popular government. I mean, in the sense that this Modi government and the government. So there is no freedom of the journalists. When the comparison between the emergency in those days of 1975 and the popular government of Modi, so everybody has this freedom to the journalists. Many of these journalists who have a voice for their right, they are under threat, and also these register many cases against those journalists. And even in Manipur, before the president ruled, popular government, many of our journalists were in jail, even these under arrested under NIA, and the many youths, girls, leaders, women, they have also registered many cases and during the popular government. Series of violations of the constitution we are facing here in the state. We can mention in brief, and also before that, I'll just mention the statement of the former Chief Minister Shri N. Biren Singh and the former minister Mr. Biswajit Singh. They are these claim that in 2027 they will get thumping majority. These around 40 seats will get by BJP in the next 2027 election. It is a funny statement. Now still we have time, and it is around 1.5 years left. And if the BJP these want to form the government, they can form the government. After this lifting this president rule, they can form the government. Why they are not forming the government? Why they are not keeping this popular government in the state? It is question to the BJP. So due to the failure and due to the absence of administrations in the last many years, the present situation in Manipur. Again, another thing, the honorable former ministers attack to the MPs is a funny. This is also funny that these two MP, we have our Congress two MPs, but the responsibility of the popular government and the BJP, even this president rule is also BJP president rule. It is directly controlled by the central government, and this is their responsibility to bring peace and normalcy in the state. They are blaming to the Congress party and the MPs of Manipur. So in fact, it is baseless, and it's become the childish statement. And it is not that we want. It's not that the people of Manipur want. So in fact, if they are very responsible person, they should take the responsibility. They should initiate dialogues between the communities, and they should effective enforcement of the constitutional machineries. That should be their responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the MP. But one thing I want to say is this: after this violence of 3rd May 2023, BJP MP and the Rajya Sabha MP, there was no single voice in the parliament. That's why the people of Manipur, this same election, and for that reason, the two MPs elected from Congress, because of their negligence, there was no voice in the parliament. That's why people got angry and they voted to the Congress MPs. So that is the reason. And but how can two MP and the 5 Congress MLA can bring peace in the state? But this is the whole responsibility of the present government and the central government. They should remind it, and they should check when they said about this thing. And instead of that, we are experiencing during the popular government, they could not maintain the law and order. Their failure, we are this experience. And after this president rule also, there is no much of development so far, and there is no free movement, and there is no fundamental rights that enshrined in the constitution. The peoples are suffering a lot. The IDPs in the relief camp still they are facing this huge problem, and even they don't have the ideas that how much they got these relief materials from the central government and the state government. They are not exposed and they are not transparent, and the people of the IDPs are asking, and even in the RTI they are not giving replies for many months. And this is the demand of the RTI activists, that how many of the beneficiaries are there, and how much of beneficiaries are there in the IDPs, and what are the funds that provided by the central government is that is still not understood by the IDPs, those who are living in the relief camp. So our demand, the series of violations of the constitution by this present government, we demand during the popular government there was no administration, then after this position of the president it is more or less the same. That is why Congress party demand dissolution of the assembly, because they failed to form the government, they failed to administer the government, they failed everything. They are violating the constitution of India. Peoples are suffering a lot. The youths are roaming in here, very unrest in the situation. The youths are in very unrest at the moment. And that is why we demand fresh election. So let's see if the former chief minister have the guts and dissolve the assembly. Discuss with your central ministers and Mr. Modi, and let us dissolve the assembly and do fresh elections. This is our demand. If they have the guts, everything is whatever you have stated, people know. And instead of blaming to the Congress party and the MPs and MLAs, in fact, it's nonsense. So do your responsibility and discuss this high command and do the needful for the people of Manipur. We want peace to restore. We want development. Where has gone the development programs for the last many years? There was no development program in 2021-22. There was no program in 2023, 24, 25. Still asking in this president rule. The budget was passed in parliament, and there was no signs of these reflections of the development program in the budget. So how the people of Manipur, no development programs in the budget, in the major departments like PWD, Water Resources Department, PhD, Public Health Engineering Department, minor irrigation for the agriculture. Then if there were no program, then what is the need of this government? Why you are collecting taxes for the people if there is no development at all? This also we want to ask to the central government, and we want to ask this presidential government. So these are the things that the people suffering a lot. But in the last, I just want to brief a little about the present failure, series of violations of constitution in the state by the last government, popular government, and after this president rule, PR government. So now the failures, the violations of the provisions in the constitutions, peoples are facing, peoples know. The educated people knows, the general people knows. Now, the financial crisis is a very serious issue in the state. Poor become poorer, rich become richer. How you are going to take this gap? Equality in the provisions, in the preamble of the constitution, we have now equality in economy. There should be equality, poor people and the rich people. That is provided in the constitution. Now, poor become poorer, rich become richer. Because you fail your scheme. You fail your own central fund, state fund, no development program. So, poor people who need small schemes, but they are not getting. Whereas has gone the NRJS, Why you decrease the voices? Why you decrease the number of voices? Why you decrease the material component? These are all questions that you felt under your government. And where has gone these provisions of constitution in regards the freedom of movement? So far, 700, I think more than 95 is going to be 85. It's more than 2 years. So one community cannot go to other area, another community cannot go to other area. Is it this free movement exists in the state of Manipur? No. This is not this violation of the constitution. What is the fundamental rights? It's no more. You always try to pass laws in the parliament and the state assembly to disturb the minorities. Is it that the provision of the constitution? So all these series of violations in the constitution of India. Why this government? Where has gone the promises that you made in 2017 and 2014 in the center? Modi promised 2 crore jobs in every year. Where has gone that job? Birenji and Biswarjit ji, you made a strong statement in 2017. Just after the oath taking, you promised to the people that you will provide 1.5 lakhs jobs in every year. Where is that promise? Is that commitment made to the people? So far, no. So these are the series of failure of the promises, and you see the law and order. You committed yourself that you failed the law and order. You seek the apology from the people that the intelligence have been failed for the last 15 months. So even the intelligence department did not give the information to the home ministers, the INC ministers. So whose mistake is this? Whose failure is this? Is it this the failure of the Congress MLA? No. This was the failure of the INC ministers, home ministers. So why blaming to the Congress MP, Congress MLAs? It is quite baseless that you also think over that. Whether you charge to the Congress is right or not, you think over that. You see law and order, the frequent mob violence. Who should control that? There is the whole responsibility of the popular government after the presidential government. So many of these illegal checkpoints were set up. So during your popular government, public lynching in some areas that was occurred. So who was the responsibility during that time? Is there any evidence that Congress created these issues? No. That was the responsibility and the handiwork of the BJP government. And many of are there. And this is the whole responsibility of the government. And you see, in the constitution, economic and the financial crisis, that should be this important part of the people of Manipur. And the elections of local bodies, ADC's elections in the hill areas, they were not done for the last 5 years. It's going to be more than 5 years. So people are so much of alarming that they are not getting their funds, the grant in aids from the central government under the 15th Finance Commission. Still, they are not getting the grant in aid funds from the 15th Finance Commission in the autonomous district council area. The small towns, Nagar Panchayat, and the municipality, even the Imphal municipal corporations, the elections were not held in time, and funds are not disbursing from the 15th Finance Commission, which is grant in aid funds from the central government, which is very much mandatory of the constitution. And you see in the Panchayati Raj institution, only the NRGS funds are implementing nowadays, but in spite of that, the 15th Finance Commission is to be taken of the drainage, road construction, community halls in the rural areas. That are not there because the 15th Finance Commission, that is total free fund. The total grants. All funds are grant in aid that are not receiving by the panchayati bodies. So that is very unfortunate. Is not this violations of the provision of the constitution, the elections of Panchayati Raj, the elections of the municipalities and the town, and the elections of the ADCs are all in the provisions of the constitution. But under your BJP government, that were not done in time. So is not this violations of the constitution? It is a total violations under your government. Even if president rule impositions, no, you have to do. You can do it. You can implement it. These elections. You suspended only these legislations. Then the suspension is not there. The Panchayati Raj institutions, local bodies. So you have to do. You need to consult your leaders. You have to approach to the central government that we are facing here the violations of the constitution in the local bodies. Why you are not doing this thing? And you are blaming to the Congress and series of lies you are mad. This is what the people of Manipur facing in your government. So these are all the facing that problem. Basically in Manipur now we are facing three major factors. One is the violence started since 3rd May 2023, and again this flood problem, flood issues, the handiwork of this present government. You flood is regarding this flood problem. This is the negligence of the officials of the Water Resources Department. Why it was? Why it is? We know that. We come to know that because of the negligence of these dams, these Dolai-Thabi dams, they failed to control and maintain the Dolai-Thabi dam. Gates were destroyed, and the one time went down the waters to the valley area, and it became the unprecedented flood in these Imphal East and Imphal West area. And after that, the Itai barrage that was not opened in time, and with this series of failures, and again the project which have taken in 2021-22, that is border area program, that more than 460 crore were sanctioned and issued the work orders. That was not implemented in time. This scheme and the failures to implement the programs in time, even the central government given the 460 crores to the Water Resources Department in the state, and the misuse of fund and the negligence of the state government, and also the contract, the agreement that was also over due to these elections, and the flood was also occurred very seriously. And these are all these some of the points that flood issues, financial crisis, the failures of the violence to bring peace and the normalcy in the state. Instead of blaming to the Congress party and the MPs and MLAs of the Congress, then BJP former ministers and the ministers need to serious concern on the present issues and need to do their responsibility and to initiate dialogues and the effective enforcement of the constitutional machineries. And lastly, we need, so because you fell the popular government and you fell after this president, more or less the same, so it will be the best way. Then if you have guts, then let us dissolve the assembly and let us do the fresh election. What is the harm to you? That is the demand of the AICC and also our state Congress party. Thank you.